What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I have terrible news, so buckle in. It's a little rough in the emotional department. This is our 2008 Ford Escape. It is the oldest and highest mileage vehicle that we have in our 37 car sharing fleet. It got sick about 1,000 miles ago, and unfortunately we found out it's terminal. Well, nothing's terminal when it comes to working on cars, but it kind of is for us. So let's start off with the tour. This car is actually in pretty decent shape considering that it is 17 years old. Yeah, there's a little rip in this driver's seat right here, and it does actually smells pretty good in here. This interior has actually really surprised us over the years. It just looks pretty timeless. It's very basic. AC controls, radio controls, but everything looks pretty good. Yeah, it's a little scratched up here and there, but what plastics would survive? The back seat actually looks in really great shape. This is all the original side right here, except for this seat, because a few videos ago, you'll notice that this actually was stolen on a rental. I don't really know how that happened. Sometimes our cars come back missing some items, like a cup holder insert, or maybe a floor mat or two. This one came back missing something really important. Let me know whenever you see it. Looks pretty normal. What? We got a new entire back seat set and I only had to replace this one. And then shortly after that, somebody ripped this center seat, which I have in the back. I just never got around to replacing it. I was hoping to do it soon. And the back still looks surprisingly brand spanking new. The carpet's not torn, not really that stained either, still smells great. There is a rattle back here that we never really could figure out what it is, but now I guess we don't have to figure it out. The sun fading started up top. I'm not really sure why. Just this area right here is turning yellow, but it is. And being a black car, this one has been through many car washes. We had unlimited car washes at one time where I'd wash it daily just for the fun of it. The front end has been replaced a couple of times because it had two back-to-back front end collisions, actually just as recent as this year. Both headlights were replaced. They look great. And it also got sideswiped sometime this year as well. Here, and here. But other than those little bits of damage, this 17-year-old car still looks pretty freaking good. It looks a lot better than some of our newer cars. She just got an inspection back in July. This thing actually runs really well. We've done a lot of upkeep on this car. I want to go over some of the things we have replaced and ultimately what led to the demise of this car. Now this car is actually really reliable. We haven't really had to replace that many things. A couple things that do come to mind are the ABS module that controls the analog brake system. We would get a safety restraint code because of that module, and unfortunately nobody makes it anymore. So we've replaced it with two used units, and finally the third one is good. The transmission was slipping a little bit at one point. We added a little bit of fluid and it seemed to sort itself out fine. We've done consistent oil changes on this car every 5,000 miles. Serpentine belt here and there. We actually just redid the suspension, I think at 260,000 miles or so, because we wanted to make sure that this car could last another 260,000 miles. But most recently, the water pump went out. It started leaking from the actual water pump itself on the weep hole, and the guests continued to drive the vehicle. We pleaded with them, please stop driving this vehicle. This vehicle can't take it. It's going to damage something else. And they continued to drive the vehicle and overheat it 2 more times. We got the car towed back. We assessed the damage, we replaced the water pump and belt, and all was well. We burped the system and it was running stout. We didn't suspect a thing. We even test drove it ourselves a couple of times to make sure that everything was good considering it has such high mileage. Unfortunately, about 1,000 miles later, this car had a new issue. It overheated on the gas and it split the radiator. I'm not sure in what order, but this is the end result. Almost. Come on, baby. Oh no.
A few minutes later.
So as you can see, this car has a very tough time starting. The compression sounds fairly good, but there's something altering its ability to start, and we found out what's causing it. We got a new radiator for it. We're gonna take this car to the shop, and we try to start it after filling it with just water so we could get it to the shop, and we discovered that there was some extra exhaust gases in the coolant system, which means only one thing: the head gasket has been blown out. this thing is getting water in the cylinders. Once the car finally does start and all that extra coolant that's sitting in the cylinder gets ejected out or burned off, the car runs perfect. But once it starts getting up to temp, that exhaust gas is just going to overpressurize the system and we're going to be back to square one. Unfortunately, taking a head gasket apart is pretty comprehensive job, especially with a vehicle with a V6. It requires taking all of this stuff on top off, removing the front side case, supporting the engine because we have to remove the motor mount just to get the heads off. And the actual cylinder heads will still need to be taken off, either machine worked or replaced. And that's just to get the car back to reliability. At that point, we might as well just rebuild the whole motor. And that is unfortunately something we're not willing to do, especially considering we were looking to get rid of this car once it hit 300,000 miles. So how close did we get? If you can't see it, 299,218 miles.
Frustratingly close.
Yeah, frustratingly close. As you can see inside the oil fill, the inside of this engine is actually in alarmingly good condition, and that's because I use only the best filters and the best oil on all of our cars. We do really good maintenance on all of them. Plus, this car has a lot of good parts. We've done AC work on it recently as well. And with the new suspension, clean interior, this car will make a nice home for the next owner. But let's go over all the numbers on this Ford Escape, because they're pretty surprising. So Aubrey and I bought this car back in spring of 2018. We paid $4,500 for this bad boy and it had 126,000 miles at the time. And $4,500 was a lot of money for Aubrey and I at the time. We've never spent that much money on one car because we were buying Yaris's and other cars for right around $3,000. I was hesitant about buying a V6 car because I've only ever had 4 cylinders in our fleet, and I feel like the 4 cylinders were way more reliable. Less cylinders, less problems was my motto. It's been a total of 7 years on Turo, and in that time, it made $53,247. Not freaking bad. Literally paid for itself 12-fold. Now, it's spent a really long time on Turo and it's done a great job. We're really happy with this Ford Escape, which is why we bought our 2012 Ford Escape, because it is near identical in trim, spec, and everything, just newer. But if you guys want to buy this bad boy, it's got plenty of great parts that you can just salvage and maybe put on your own Escape, or replace head gaskets and drive another 300,000 miles. Who knows? Make me a good offer and I'll give you a good car with 2 keys and a clean title. Be sure to either leave F in the chat or RIP 08 Ford Escape, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe too, please.